Eat that frog. 22 ways to avoid procrastination. Chapter 1. Set the table. There is one quality that one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to achieve it. Napoleon Hill. Before you can determine your frog and get on with the job of eating it, you have to decide exactly what is it you want to achieve in each area of your life. Clarity is perhaps the most important concept in personal productivity. The number one reason why some people get more work done faster is because they are absolutely clear about their goals and objectives, and they don't deviate from them. The greater clarity you have regarding what you want and the steps you will have to take to achieve it, the easier it will be for you to overcome procrastination. Eat your frog and complete the task before you. A major reason for procrastination and lack of motivation is vagueness, confusion, and fuzzy-mindedness about what it is you are trying to do, and in what order and what reason. You must avoid this common condition with all your strength by striving for ever greater clarity in your major goals and tasks. Here is a great rule for success. Think on paper. Only about 3% of adults have clear written goals. These people accomplish 5 and 10 times as much as people of equal or better education and ability, but who, for whatever reason, have never taken the time to write out exactly what it is they want. There is a powerful formula for setting and achieving goals that you can use for the rest of your life. It consists of 7 simple steps. Any one of the steps can double and triple your productivity if you are not currently using it. Many of my graduates have increased their incomes dramatically in a matter of a few years and even a few months within this simple 7-part method. Decide exactly what you want. Either decide for yourself or sit down with your boss and discuss your goals or objectives until you are absolutely crystal clear about what is expected of you and in what order of priority. It is amazing how many people are working away day after day on low value tasks because they have not had this critical discussion with their manager. Rule. One of the very worst uses of time is to do something very well that need not be done at all. Stephen Covey says that before you begin scrambling up the ladder of success, make sure that it is leaning against the right building. Step 2. Write it down. Think on paper. When you write your goal down, you crystallize this and give it tangible form. You create something that you can touch and see. On the other hand, a goal or objective that is not in rewriting is merely a wish or a fantasy. It has no energy behind it. Unwritten goals lead to confusion, vagueness, misdirection, and numerous mistakes. Step 3. Set a deadline on your goal. Set sub-deadlines if necessary. A goal or decision without a deadline has no urgency. It has no real beginning or end. Without a definite deadline accompanied by assignment and acceptance of specific responsibilities for completion, you will naturally procrastinate and get very little done. Make a list of everything that you can think of that you are going to have to do to achieve your goal. As you think of new activities, add them to your list. Keep building your list until it is complete. A list gives you a visual picture of larger task or objective. It gives you a track to run on. It dramatically increases the likelihood that you will achieve your goal as you have defined it on schedule. Step 5. Organize the list into a plan. Organize your list by priority and sequence. Take a few minutes to decide what you need to do first and what you can do later. Decide what has to be done before something else and what needs to be done afterwards. Even better, lay out your plan visually in the form of a series of boxes and circles on a sheet of paper with lines and arrows showing the relationship of each task to each other task. You will be amazed at how much easier it is to achieve your goal and when you break it down into individual tasks. With a written goal and an organized plan of action, you will be far more productive and efficient than someone who is carrying his goals around in his mind. Take action on your plan immediately. Do something, do anything. An average plan vigorously executed is far better than a brilliant plan on which nothing is done. For you to achieve any kind of success, execution is everything. Step 7. Resolve to do something every single day that moves you towards your major goal. Build this activity into your daily schedule. You may read a specific number of pages on a key subject. You could call on a specific number of prospects or customers. You can engage in a specific period of physical exercise. You can learn a certain number of new words in a foreign language. Whatever it is, you must never miss a day. Keep pushing forward. Once you start moving, keep moving. Don't stop. This discipline alone can dramatically increase your speed of goal accomplishment and boost your personal productivity. The power of written goals. Clear written goals have a wonderful effect on your thinking. They motivate you and galvanize you into action. They stimulate your creativity, release your energy, and help you to overcome procrastination as much as any other factor. Goals are the fuel in the furnace of achievement. The bigger your goals, the clearer they are, the more excited you become about achieving them. The more you think about your goals, the greater becomes your inner drive and desire to accomplish them. Think about your goals and review them every day. Every morning when you begin, take action on the most important task you can accomplish to achieve your most important goal at the moment. Eat that frog first. Take a clean sheet of paper right now and make out a list of 10 goals you want to accomplish in the next year. Write your goals as though a year has already passed and they are now a reality. Use the present tense, positive and personal case so that they are immediately accepted by your subconscious mind. For example, you would write, I earn X number of dollars per year, or I weigh X number of pounds, or I drive such and such car. Review your list of 10 goals and select the one goal that if you achieved it would have the greatest positive impact on your life. Whatever that goal is, write it on a separate sheet of paper. Set a deadline, make a plan, take action on your plan, and then do something every single day that moves you towards that goal. This exercise alone could change your life. Chapter 2. Plan every day in advance. Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Alan Lacan. You have heard the old question, how do you eat an elephant? Answer, one bite at a time. How do you eat your biggest, ugliest frog? The same way. You break it down into specific step-by-step activities and then you start on the first one. Your mind, your ability to think, plan and decide is your most powerful tool for overcoming procrastination and increasing your productivity. Your ability to set your goals, make plans and take action on them determines the course of your life. The very act of thinking and planning unlocks your mental powers, triggers your creativity, increases your mental and physical energies. Conversely, as Alex Mackenzie wrote, action without planning is the cause of every failure. Your ability to make good plans before you begin is a measure of your overall competence. The better the plan you have, the easier it is for you to overcome procrastination, to get started, to eat your frog and then to keep going. Increase your return on energy. One of your top goals at work should be for you to get the highest possible return on your investment of mental, emotional and physical energy. The good news is that every minute spent in planning saves as many as 10 minutes in execution. It only takes about 10 to 12 minutes for you to plan out your day, but this small investment of time will save you at least 2 hours in wasted time and diffused effort throughout the day. You may have heard of the 6P formula. It says proper prior planning prevents poor performance. When you consider how helpful planning can be in increasing your productivity and performance, it is amazing how few people practice it every single day. And planning is quite simple to do. All you need is a piece of paper and pen. The most sophisticated Palm Pilot computer program or time planner is based on the same principle. It is based on your sitting down and making a list of everything you have to do before you begin. 2 extra hours per day. Always work from the list. When something new comes up, add it to the list before you do it. You can increase your productivity and output by 25% or more by about 2 hours from the first day that you began working consistently from a list. Make out your list the night before or at the end of the workday. Move everything that you have not yet accomplished onto your list for the coming day, and then add everything that you have to do next day. When you make out your list the evening or the night before, your subconscious mind works on your list all night long while you sleep. Often you will wake up with great ideas and insights that you can use to get your job done faster and better than you have had initially thought. The more time you take to make written lists of everything you have to do in advance, the more effective and efficient you will be. Different lists for different purposes. There are different lists that you need for different purposes. First, you should create a master list on which you write down everything you can think of that you want to do something in the future. This is the place where you capture every idea that comes to or every new task or responsibility that comes up. You can then sort out the items later. Second, you should have a monthly list that you make up at the end of the month for the month ahead. This may contain items transferred from your master list. Then you should have a weekly list where you plan your entire week in advance. This is a list that is under construction as you go through the current week. This discipline of systematic time planning can be very helpful to you. Many people have told me that the habit of taking a couple of hours at the each end of each week to plan the coming week has increased their productivity dramatically and changed their life completely. This technique will work for you as well. Finally, you transfer items from monthly and weekly lists onto your daily list. These are the specific activities that you are going to accomplish that day. As you work through the day, tick off the items on your list as you complete them. This activity gives you a visual picture of accomplishment. It generates a feeling of success and forward motion. Seeing yourself working progressively through your list motivates and energizes you. It raises your self-esteem and self-respect. Steady, visible progress propels you forward and helps you to overcome procrastination. Planning a project. When you have a project of any kind, begin by making a list of every step that you will have to complete to finish the project from beginning to end. Organize the project by priority and sequence. Lay out the project in front of you on paper or on a computer so that you can see every step and task. Then go to the work on one task at a time. You will be amazed at how much you get done in this way. As you work through your list, you will feel more and more effective and powerful. You will feel more in control of your life. You will be naturally motivated to do even more. You will think better and more creatively, and you will get more and better insights that enable you to do your work even faster. As you work steadily through your lists, you will develop a sense of positive forward momentum that enables you to overcome procrastination. This feeling of progress gives you more energy and keeps you going throughout the day. Rule of the most important rules, personal effectiveness is the 10 by 90 rule. 10 by 90 rule. This rule says that the first 10% of time that you spend planning or organizing your work before you begin will save you as much as 90% of your time in getting the job done once you get started. You only have to try this rule once to prove it to yourself. When you plan each day in advance, you find it much easier to get going and to keep going. The work goes faster and smoother than ever before. You will feel more powerful and competent. You get more done faster than you thought possible. Eventually, you become unstoppable. Eat that frog. Begin today to plan every day, week and month in advance. Take a notepad or sheet of paper or use your PDA or BlackBerry and make a list of everything that you have to do in the next 24 hours. Add to it as new items comes up. Make a list of all your projects, the big multitask jobs that are important to your future. Lay out each of your major goals and projects and tasks by priority, what is more important, and by sequence that has to be done first, what comes second and fourth. Start with the end in mind and work backward. Think on paper. Always work from a list. You will be amazed at how much more productive you become and how much easier it is to eat your frog. Chapter 3. Apply the 80/20 rule to everything. We have always time enough if we will see but use it right. Wolfgang von Goethe. The 80/20 rule is one of the most helpful of all concepts of time in life management. It is also called the Pareto principle after its founder, the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto, who first wrote about it in 1895. Pareto noticed that people in his society seemed to divide naturally into what he called the vital few, the top 20% in terms of money and influence, and the trivial many, the bottom 80%. He later discovered that virtually all economic activity was subject to this Pareto principle as well. For example, this rule says 20% of your activity will account for 80% of your results. 20% of your customers will account for 80% of your sales. 20% of your products and services will account for 80% of your profits. 20% of your tasks will account for 80% of the value of what you do, and so on. This means that if you have a list of 10 items to do, 2 of those items will turn out to be worth as much and more than the other 8 items put together. Number of tasks versus importance of tasks. Here is an interesting discovery. Each of these tasks may take the same amount of time to accomplish, but 1 or 2 of those tasks will contribute 5 to 10 times the value as any of the others. Often, one item on a list of 10 things that you have to do can be worth more than all the other 9 items put together. This task is invariably the frog that you should eat first. Can you guess on which items the average person is most likely to procrastinate? The sad fact is that most people procrastinate on the top 10 or 20% of the items that are most valuable and important, the vital few. They busy themselves instead with the at least important 80%, the trivial many that contribute very little to results. Focus on activities versus accomplishments. You often see people who appear to be busy all day long, but they seem to accomplish very little. This is almost always because they are busy doing things that are of low value, while they procrastinate on the 1 or 2 activities that, if they completed them quickly and well, could make a real difference to their companies and to their careers. The most valuable tasks you can do each day are often the hardest and the most complex, but the payoffs and rewards for completing these tasks efficiently can be tremendous. For this reason, you must adamantly refuse to work on tasks in the bottom 80% while you still have tasks in the top 20% left to be done. Before you begin work, always ask yourself, is this task in the top 20% of my activities or in the bottom 80%? Rule: resist the temptation to clear up small things first. Remember, whatever you choose to do over and over eventually becomes a habit that is hard to break. If you choose to start your day on low value tasks, you soon develop a habit of always starting and working on low value tasks. This is not the kind of habit you want to develop or keep. The hardest part of any important task is getting started on it in the first place. Once you actually begin work on a valuable task, you seem to be naturally motivated to continue. There is a part of your mind that loves to be busy working on significant tasks that can really make a difference. Your job is to feed this part of your mind continually. Motivate yourself. Just thinking about starting and finishing an important task motivates you and helps you to overcome procrastination. The fact is that the amount of time required to complete an important job is often the same as the time required to do an important job. The difference is that you get a tremendous feeling of pride and satisfaction from completing of something valuable and significant. However, when you complete a low value task using the same amount of time and energy, you get little or no satisfaction at all. Time management is really life management, personal management. It is really taking control over the sequence of events. Time management is control over what you do next. and you are always free to choose the task that you will do next. Your ability to choose between the important and the unimportant is a key determinant of your success in life and work. Effective, productive people discipline themselves to start on the most important task that is before them. They force themselves to eat that frog with whatever it is. As a result, they accomplish vastly more than the average person and are much happier as a result. This should be your way of working as well. Eat that frog. Make a list of all the key goals, activities, projects, and responsibilities in your life today. Which of them are or could be in top 10% or 20% of tasks that represent or could represent 80% or 90% of your results. Resolve today that you're going to spend more and more of your time working in those few areas that can really make a difference in your life and career, and less time on your lower value activities. Chapter 4. Consider the consequences. Every man has become great. Every successful man has succeeded in proportion as he has confined his power to one particular channel. Origin Swett Marden. Mark of the superior thinker in his or her ability to accurately predict consequences of doing or not doing something. The potential consequences of any task or activity are the key determinants of how important it is really to you or to your company. This way of evaluating the significance of a task is how you determine what your next frog really is. Dr. Edward Benfield of Harvard University, after more than 50 years of research, concluded that long-time perspective is the most accurate single predictor of upward social and economic mobility in America. Long-time perspective turns out to be more important than family background, education, race, intelligence, connections, or virtually any other single factor in determining your success in life or at work. Your attitude towards time, your time horizon, has an enormous impact on your behavior and your choices. People who take the long views of their lives and careers always seems to make much better decisions about their time and activities than people who give very little thought of the future. Rule: long-term thinking improves short-term decision making. Successful people have a clear future orientation. They think 5, 10, 20 years out into the future. They analyze their choices and behaviors in the present to make sure that they are doing today is consistent with the long-term future that they desire. Make better decisions about time. In your work, have a clear idea of what is really important to you in the long term makes it much easier for you to make better decisions about your priorities in the short term. By definition, something that is more important has long-term potential consequences. Something that is unimportant has few and no long-term potential consequences. Before starting on anything, you should always ask yourself, what are the potential consequences of doing or not doing this task? Future intent influences and often determines present actions. The clearer you are about your future intentions, the greater influence that clarity will have on what you do in the moment. With a clear long-term vision, you are much more capable of evaluating an activity in the present and to assure that it is consistent with where you truly want to end up. Think about the long term. Successful people are those who are willing to delay gratification and make sacrifices in the short term so that they can enjoy far greater rewards in the long term. Unsuccessful people, on the other hand, think more about short-term pleasures and immediate gratification while giving little thought to the long-term future. Dennis Waitley, motivational speaker, says, failures to do what is tension relieving, and while winners do what is goal achieving. For example, coming in to work earlier, reading regularly in your field, taking courses to improve your skills, and focusing on high-value tasks in your work will all combine to have an enormous positive impact on your future. On the other hand, coming in to work at the last moment, reading the newspaper, drinking coffee, and socializing with your co-workers may seem fun and enjoyable in the short term, but it inevitably leads to lack of promotion, underachievement, and frustration in the long term. If there is a task or activity with large potential positive consequences, make it a top priority and get started on it immediately. If there is something that can have large potential negative consequences, if it is done quickly, not done quickly and well, that becomes a top priority as well. Whatever your frog is, resolve to gulp it down first thing. Motivation requires motive. The greater the positive potential impact that an action or behavior of yours can have on your life, once you define it clearly, the more motivated you will be to overcome procrastination and get it done quickly. Keep yourself focused and forward moving by continually starting and completing those tasks that can make a major difference to your company and your future. Remember, the time is going to pass anyway. The only question is how you use it and where you are going to end up at the end of the weeks or months. And where you end up is largely a matter of amount of consideration you give to the likely consequences of your actions in the short term. Thinking continually about the potential consequences of your choices and decisions and behaviors is one of the very best ways to determine your true priorities in your work and personal life. Obey the law of forced efficiency. This law says that there is enough time to do everything, but there is always enough time to do most important thing. Put another way, you cannot eat every tadpole and frog in the pond, but you can eat the biggest and the ugliest one, and that will be enough, at least for the time being. When you run out of time and the consequences for non-completion of a key task or project can be really serious, you always seem to find the time to get it done, often at the last minute. When you have no choice, when the consequences for no completion are serious enough, you start early, you stay late, and you drive yourself to complete the job rather than to face the unpleasantness that would follow if you didn't get it completed within the time limit. Rule: there will never be enough time to do everything you will have to do. It has been estimated that the average person in business today, especially managers in the age of cutbacks, is working at 110% to 130% of capacity, and the jobs and responsibilities just keep piling up. Everyone has stacks of reading material they still have to go through. One study concluded recently that the average executive has 300 to 400 of reading and projects backlogged at home and at office. What this means is that you will never be caught up. Get that wonderful idea out of your mind. All you can hope is to be on top of your most important responsibilities. The others will just have to wait. Deadlines are an excuse. Many people say that they work better under the pressure of deadlines. Unfortunately, years of research indicate that this is seldom true. Under the pressure of deadlines, often self-created through procrastination and delay, people suffer greater stress, make more mistakes, and have to redo more tasks than under any other conditions. Often the mistakes that are made when people are working under tight deadlines lead to defects and cost overruns that lead to substantial financial losses in the long term. Sometimes the job actually takes much longer to complete when people rush to get the job done at the last minute and then have to redo it. It is much better to plan your time carefully in advance and then build in a sizable buffer to compensate for unexpected delays and diversions. However much time you think a task will take, add on another 20% or more, or make a time game of getting it done well in advance of the deadline. You will be amazed at how much more relaxed you are and how much better a job you do. 3 questions on maximum productivity. There are 3 questions that you can use on a regular basis to keep yourself focused on getting your most important task and completed on schedule. The first question is, what are my highest value activities? Put another way, what are the biggest strokes that you have to make the greatest contribution to your organization, to your family, to your life in general? This is one of the most important questions that you can ask and answer. What are your highest value activities? Think. First, think this through for yourself. Then ask your boss, ask your co-workers and subordinates, ask your friends and family. Like focusing the lens of camera, you must be crystal clear about your highest value activities before you begin work. The second question you can ask continually is, what can I and only I do if I done well will make a real difference? This question comes from Peter Drucker, the management guru. It is one of the best of all the questions for achieving personal effectiveness. What can you and only you do that, if done well, can make a real difference? This is defined something that you can do, only you can do. If you don't do it, it won't be done by someone else. But if you do it and you do it well, it can really make a difference to your life and career. What is this particular frog for you? Every hour of every day you can ask yourself this question, and there will be a specific answer. Your job is to clear about the answer and then to start and work on this task before you everything else. The third question you can ask is, what is the most valuable use of my time right now? What is my biggest frog of all at this time? This is the core question of time management. Answering this question correctly is the key to overcoming procrastination and becoming a highly productive person. Every hour of every day there is some task that is most valuable use of your time at that moment. Your job is to ask yourself this question over and over again, and to always be working on the answer to do to it, whatever it is. Do first thing first and second thing not at all. As Goethe said, the things that matter most must never be at the mercy of things that matter least. The most accurate your answers to these questions, the easier it will be for you to set clear priorities to overcome procrastination and to get started on that one activity that represents the most valuable use of your time. Eat that frog. Review your list of tasks, activities and projects regularly. Continually ask yourself, which one project or activity, if I did it in excellent and timely fashion, would have the greatest positive consequences in my life and personal life. Determine the most important things you could do every hour of every day, and then discipline yourself to work continually on the most valuable use of your time. What is this for you right now? Whatever it is that can help you the most, set it as a goal. Make a plan to achieve it, or to work on your plan immediately. Remember the wonderful words of Goethe: just begin and the mind grows heated. Continue and the task will be completed.